Uh, First off, that transition out of boot camp, coming back to the civilian life, was it any weird or anything like that? And also, how long before you had to go to your first drill?
So coming back, transitioning back from doing military stuff all day to just being a civilian again. Most National Guard units don't, or National Guard states that have units don't have like forts dedicated to National Guard.
Because you could speak more towards the boot camp and training
Yeah.
for the advice. So if you have advice for that, and then advice for continuing your career in the guard.
So going through boot camp and job training, just keep your head low. Don't try to get your name recognized unless it's for a good reason.
Blaming sign is tired, didn't deserve your love. And now you losing it. So let's get lost together. Brace yourself, girl, come and get it. I ain't gonna wait forever. Novocaine, let's numb your pain.
Hey guys, welcome to Big Things Happening. Today we're gonna introduce military into my videos. For you guys that don't know, I was in the Marine Corps, but I'm gonna play stupid today and ask questions to an Army National Guard member. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself. So what's your name?
My name is Nick McRyan. I've been in the Pennsylvania National Guard now for 2 years. Joined back in 2021. Currently, I'm enrolled at Kutztown University. I've been going there for about a year and a half now.
What was your life like growing up? Like how, and also, so what was your life like growing up? And also, how did you even get interested in the Army?
So I was originally born in New York City, lived there for 8 years, and then moved to Pennsylvania back in 2012. My biggest influence for the Army was my grandfather, served during Vietnam. And the funny part is that he always told me, don't join, right? His biggest quote was, better to be a live chicken than a dead hero, but I didn't listen to him. So when I was 17, as soon as I got to the age, I said I want to sign up. My mom's like, well, if you're gonna sign up, then you're gonna have to do National Guard. I don't need you going nowhere. So I said, all right, I'll take that deal. So I signed up at 17. I went to basic training at 17. I turned 18 while I was there. So
Is Army National Guard training different than just Army training?
No. So at basic training, everybody, if they're active duty, they're going active duty, going reserve, going National Guard. Everybody does the same exact training. So.
Okay. And then how long is the training for you guys?
So basic combat training, when everybody goes to that first, is 3 months, and then it depends on your MOS, what school you go to for your job. So it could be as little as 2 months, or it could be as long as 6 months. It just all depends.
Awesome. And what is your job?
So I am a 92 Alpha, which is the MOS code. Title is Automated Logistical Specialist, and they give it a pretty broad and general title just because my job could do a lot of things. So if I was in an infantry unit, I might be with the vehicle mechanics, helping them out, getting orders for parts for the vehicles, filling out some forms for maintenance and all that stuff. If I was in a warehouse, is the next most common job most 92 Alphas would get. Just be doing regular warehouse functions like somebody might do on the civilian side. But currently I'm at an aviation unit, so I work with helicopters and those helicopter maintainers. So I just pretty much get them parts and equipment as well. So it's pretty decent.
Before we get to your unit, what was like school like? For you? Like, how did you learn your job? Like, how did they take the time and the course materials to teach you? And like, how long was your school?
So 92 Alpha school was about 2.5, 3 months long. Basically, the average day for that was wake up at 4:30, do your PT for an hour, eat breakfast, and go straight to the schoolhouse. At the schoolhouse, you had they're called instructors. They were soldiers who served in the Army for a very long time, and they became instructors at the schoolhouse. So it was mostly PowerPoints. We had some hands-on activities towards the end where we would actually go to like a model of a warehouse, and they would teach us how to actually go through the functions of working in a warehouse.
It's actually funny because in my schoolhouse we did warehouse too. So I also did logistics, but for the Marine Corps. It's slightly different. My end was more focused on deployments, but we did have warehouse portions where we were just stacking pallets.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And at least I felt like I didn't learn anything in my job. If we're in the schoolhouse, I learned it in the fleet is what we call it.
Yep.
Is that the same thing with you guys, or?
Basically, the first day of school, they said you're gonna have over 900 slides with these instructions. You're not gonna learn anything, and that's okay.
Yeah, that was exactly. I learned everything once I got
Yep.
to my job area. So, so cool. So now you're in Pennsylvania. First off, that transition out of boot camp, coming back to civilian life, was it any weird or anything like that? And also, how long before you had to go to your first drill?
So coming back, transitioning back from doing military stuff all day to just being a civilian again, it was pretty hard. I actually hated it. I didn't even want to be home. I wanted to go back right away. But after a week or two, seeing my family every day, I realized that, this is better than being somewhere far away.
Right.
My first drill, so what you do when you're in the National Guard, as soon as you get back, the next available day that there's a drill weekend for what's called RSP, which is it's like a program getting you ready to go to basic training when you sign up with the National Guard. You go back to that unit and you do 1 day with them during the weekend. You fill out all your paperwork to get you in contact with the sponsor at your actual unit. And then at the end of the day, you get to speak with the new guys who just signed up for the National Guard and tell them about your experiences at basic training and your job school. So,
do you say how long between boot camp or all your training and then to your drill?
it depends. So, because drill's only once a month. So if you come back after that drill was already over, you're gonna have to wait till the next month till that drill happens again at that RSP unit.
Right. And then what are you doing like in between? Do you get paid like outside of drill, or you only get paid for drill? And then also like what are you doing in your free time?
So you only get paid for drill. Usually if you come in, you'll probably be an E2, you'll probably get your automatic promotion by the time you get to your unit, just because you were at training for that many months. Usually for a 2-day drill, you'll get $250. Once you start getting those promotions up to E4 and E5, they'll start getting closer to $300, which is pretty good for 2-3 days during the month. Outside of drill, most people either A, take the skills that they learned and get a civilian job, or B, just go to school. So I do a little bit of both. I go to school and I work a civilian job
Awesome.
in between.
So awesome. We're not done. It's just now I gotta regather my thoughts. Okay, so Pennsylvania Guard. Well, first off, what's the difference between reserves and guard then?
So reserves is federal. So all their stuff is from the federal government, like active duty. National Guard has 2 missions, is what they say. Is first the state mission, so any natural disaster that happens in the state, or any like pandemic or any issues with the state, the National Guard will go in. And then the second mission is the federal mission. So I forgot what the act or law is. It was created back, I think, right after 9/11, just because the U.S. Army needed the support of National Guard units during like the Iraq War and when we went in during the Gulf War as well. So they needed the support of the National Guard to be called up. So that's what the second mission is, federal mission. So first we're state. Everything is done through the state. All of our payments, all of our paychecks come through the state, all of our benefits come through the state. And then if for whatever reason federal government needs us to deploy anywhere, we could get called up as well. So
okay, and then do you have chances to deploy still?
yeah, so it depends on the unit you're in. Usually it's every 3 to 5 years for a deployment. It's like a rotation almost. It's like you're going to get deployed. So I have a deployment potentially coming up in 2026 because they had just deployed my unit, deployed in 2021. So as soon as they got back, they had come back from Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
So now that time period is waiting for the next rotation, and we're going to be in 2026. So
yeah, I mean, it's a little different for us, I guess. Active duty, we knew we would be home 6 months and then we'd be gone for 6 months. So
okay.
every 6 months we're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's similar, but I can see why there's so much reserve units. So I guess that's why the rotation is that long, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And now, I don't know if you want to give this much information, but where do you work? Like, what base?
So most National Guard units don't, or National Guard states that have units don't have like forts dedicated to National Guard units. Usually it's just like an active duty post that's in that state that National Guard units share for the weekend with active duty units, but Pennsylvania actually has a dedicated National Guard fort, and that's Fort Indiantown Gap up by Harrisburg. So that's where the aviation unit is stationed that I'm in, and there's a couple of Stryker units up there as well. So
And then what's like the community like there?
so it's pretty rural, the area. I mean, there's restaurants and stuff on post, but usually it's not too packed during the day.
During the day? And then like what's the work environment like with the people there? Do you like your people?
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure you're not gonna talk shit on them.
No, but
Yeah.
they're great. All the guys up there are great. There's actually a good amount of females that I work with that are maintainers for the helicopters, so that's really cool to see.
That's cool.
Most of the guys that work up there have full-time tech jobs. So through the state of Pennsylvania, it's not technically AGR. It's not Active Guard Reserve. It's I forgot what the name is. They work as a state worker, as a state employee.
Like a contractor or
Not a contract. They're still working as military, but full-time. So it's a pretty weird.
so they're not active duty.
They're not active duty. So they get almost like a regular salary. It's almost like a civilian job, but you're still in the guard and you're doing it. You do it in your OCPs, you do it in your camis. It's not like you get to wear civilian clothes. You're almost like you're working full time.
Right.
So
So when you show up for drill, what does the work look like for you as a supply? Is that the best way to?
the official title for the unit is equipment and parts record maintainer.
Okay.
So but
What
logistics.
Okay, logistics. Is what
Yeah.
you call, okay. So what does it look? What does logistics look like for you when you show up for drill? And then what are you doing when you're not working?
So the day typically starts with the first formation at 7 o'clock in the morning. So usually that's all the platoons getting information. First sergeant will come out and give comments on how the weekend's going to go, what work the unit's going to have to do, and then if the commander's available, he'll come give his little speech and then tell us to go to work. As soon as that happens, me and my section of logistics guys, about 3 of us right now, we'll go straight to it's called tech supply room, and that's where all of our equipment, all of our parts, all of our tools, any other pieces of items, equipment that the guys use is in there, and we just pretty much sit in there and wait for all the mechanics to come in and ask to sign out all their stuff. If there's any parts that they need, we have a little area in the back that has multiple shelves, and we go and grab their parts for them.
I find that interesting that you call that logistics, and it is logistics. It is,
Yeah.
but because when we talk about certain words in the Marine Corps, it's literally something. So when you say stuff like that, it sounds like literal supply.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you get that term, I'm sure, because I used to get that term a lot. Because I mean, I did logistics, but embarkation, you know.
Yeah.
But I did hold supply, so they would call it supply. Yeah.
The title for logistics for an aviation unit is called tech supply section.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called tech supply, but everybody confuses us with unit supply, which is just like the guys that hand out your pencils, your paper, your clothing
Right.
records.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I did do that on the side, but that's
Yeah.
because we didn't have a supply actual representative
yeah.
inside our shop.
So the quote our instructors always gave us at the schoolhouse was, 92 Yankees, which is the unit supply guys, can never do a 92 Alpha job, which is us. The 92 Alpha could always do a 92 Yankees job.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I mean, inventory and stuff is pretty easy. So, I mean,
Yeah.
granted, there is like procurement and stuff like that, but that's more tedious work that
Yeah,
you can figure
acquisition
out,
and
yeah.
stuff and requisition.
Yeah.
We do have a good amount of work we do on the computer, so we use the Army Combat System to order parts offline. If we're running low, we could check stocks. We could search up part numbers just to make sure we're ordering the right ones. So there's a little more computer work with them. I guess that's why they call it automated logistical specialists.
Right.
So
Yeah. My job is mainly like plan planes, pretty much.
yeah,
At least where I was at, trying to do the center of balance and that kind of stuff for
Yeah.
deployments. But okay, so when you're not working, then what do you guys do? You guys just
So typically we get off at 4:30 is the end of the workday. There's barracks on post, so we usually get a building or two provided for us. It's open style, like basic training. usually most of the guys just drink, you know. You have your civilian job, you do your National Guard job, you know, it's a long day working on the aircraft, turning wrenches. So most guys just want to relax. There's not too much out by Harrisburg unless you drive into the city, but you know, it's just a pretty relaxed night. Everybody's just, it's almost like let's say like block party. Everybody's just outside. They have their music on, they have all their drinks out.
Probably grilling out.
Yeah, during summer training, during those 2 weeks, some guy brought up his smoker and set it out in front of the barracks and was selling burgers for like $3.
Yeah.
So
There's people who get crafty with how they sell stuff in the military.
they make it interesting.
I know definitely barbers make a lot of money in the military, especially on deployment.
Yeah, people be running barber shops out of their rooms.
Dude, on deployment, well, we went to Japan, and first, I mean, we could easily get haircuts at anywhere, like in the town in Japan or like on base. But I guess people were like too lazy after a long day's work. They just go right next door to one of the barracks cutters.
Yeah.
Dude was charging $5, and well, I guess that too is cheaper. He was charging $5, but he was cutting 200 Marines' hairs every week.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so they make the most money, I think, probably, especially in the area you can't get a haircut. They'll bring up the pay. But so. Is it, like, why? I mean, why should someone even do guard? Like, because there's active duty, right?
Yep.
And I think personally, active duty is way better experience if you want to be in the military. But I mean, why do guard?
Honestly, it all depends on your options and I guess your lifestyle. If you want to do active duty, that's just full-time job. You go to whatever post they tell you to go after your training or whatever, and you just do that for 4, 6, 8 years, however long you sign up. The guard usually, and the big stereotype is it's just college students, right? You go, you get your benefits after you're done with training, and then you come back, you have the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, and then you just go to school during that time. So typically people will sign a 6-year contract, go to high school, college for 4 years, finish out their 2 years, and that's pretty much it. But there's people who take it more seriously. There's people who just want to stay in the state, like they want to work full time, but they don't feel like getting assigned to a fort somewhere on the other side of the world because, fortunately, being enlisted, you don't have that choice. So people just want to stay in with their families. And I mean, AGR is a possibility. Working full time for the state is a possibility, but it is a very hard position to get.
All right.
So
why not reserves then? Like, it sounds like exactly the same. I know you said one's federal and one's
state and federal, yeah. So reserves, I guess it all comes down to also your job and the benefits you want to get. Because Army Reserves, there's no combat jobs. They don't do anything related to combat. So you can't be infantry, you can't be mortar, you can't be artillery, you can't do none of that. And I don't know why it's geared like that, but that's how it is. National Guard, you have all of that. You have infantry, you have mortarmen, you have artillery, you have striker, you have all that stuff. And through the federal government, the only really school benefits you get it's called Army TA tuition assistance, and that's only offered once a year that you could get a stipend for. National Guard, you do the education benefits through the state, and you get your tuition paid for every semester. So it's not only a one year thing.
So the education benefits are better
for National Guard. Yep.
Okay. And you go to school?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say where you go to school? Does it matter?
Kutztown. Yeah.
Kutztown. Yeah. What is your degree there?
I'm going for secondary education with a focus in history. So.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like you like history.
Yeah, I love history, especially military history. Is probably the best type of history. But
yeah, I mean, I'm interested in military history for more like strategic type mindset. Yeah. But history is cool. I think that you have a good insight of what's happening in life in the future and stuff like that if you know a little bit about history.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, so how are you getting paid? Like, so is your tuition 100%, and then you get money too?
So yeah, tuition is 100%. Tuition is 100% covered by the state, and then it's a federal benefit. It's called GI Bill. There's multiple versions, but the one that National Guard get, it's usually $400 every full academic month. But if you have the kicker, like if you got an extra bonus with your contract signing up, you could get up to $650 a month for every full academic month.
So it's 650 plus 400. Is that what you said?
It's 400 and the kicker is an extra 200.
Oh,
So you get
okay.
600 total.
So it's two. They add them together.
Correct.
Okay, cool. I thought it was two separate stuff. And then, wait, are you living comfortably like that? I mean, you work,
Yeah.
right? So between work and then your benefits, you live pretty comfortable.
Pretty comfortable, yeah.
Yeah.
Work benefits and even drill pay. I mean, once a month, it's a pretty decent.
Which you're E4.
Correct, yeah.
So what's for the drill pay? How much you get for that?
$230 to $250 for a 2-day.
Okay.
For a 3-day drill, so like from Friday through Sunday, $300, and then the 2 weeks in the summer is close to $2,000. So, I mean, if you're a smart college student, you know how to spend your money, you're not spending it on anything dumb.
Of course.
You're gonna have enough to pay for your housing. So.
Yeah, not being that guy straight out of boot camp with a charger.
Yeah, people will get out with all that because as soon as you get out of boot camp and your job training, you have that active duty pay. So you're gonna have at least $10,000 to $15,000 as soon as you get out.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy a brand new car."
Well, a lot of people go to the military straight out of high school and never had money and think like it just works that way.
Yeah, let me buy this car with like 10% down or something.
Yeah, which definitely happened in my unit a lot of times.
Yeah.
If people wanted to go army, guard, or just even army. So first of all, we'll do army advice, and then guard advice, and then we'll just like that. So like separate, I guess, because you could speak more towards the boot camp and training.
Yeah.
For the advice, so if you have advice for that, and then advice for continuing your career in the guard.
So going through boot camp and job training, just keep your head low. Don't try to get your name recognized unless it's for a good reason. When I went through basic training, only one drill sergeant out of the 4 that I had knew my name by the end of training. They didn't even know I existed at graduation. So that's usually that's the best way to go through. I mean, it sounds funny, but I mean, you're not doing no extra push-ups, no extra sit-ups, nothing like that. Don't get into anything stupid. Don't get into no drama at basic training. Everybody's adults there. You got to be at least, I mean, maybe for a couple of 17-year-olds, but everyone's 18 and up there. You gotta act like an adult. No high school drama, which was what a lot of people actually had. Just stick with the schedule. Don't do anything stupid. Listen to your drill sergeants. Anything like pretty much shut off your brain. Like straight up shut off your brain. Don't have no thoughts, individual thoughts. Don't say, oh, I'm gonna do it this way and not the way my drill sergeant told me, because you will mess up and you will get yelled at and you will get smoked for it.
Right.
So just pretty much pay attention, listen to everything they say. That they're there for a reason. Your drill sergeants are your drill sergeants for a reason. They know what they're doing, and you'll just make it through boot camp.
Which I think they actually changed the way drill sergeants act, right?
Correct. So they're gearing it more of, I guess you could say, friendly. I mean, they're still yelling at you, they're still screaming at you, but they're not down your neck every single minute of the day, right? They're gonna they're gonna watch you and see how you act and how you build your respect towards them. Obviously, if you're misbehaving, they're gonna be more on top of you. If they see that you're behaving, you're listening, they're gonna lean off of it a little bit.
Right.
But as for like the sharp attack, what everybody knows is you hop off the bus, they're all yelling at you. They got rid of that, I think in 2019 or 2020. They replaced it with something called like the first 200 yards. You just pick up a lot of heavy shit and they make you run to wherever you're staying at for basic training. And that's meant to build teams a little better and just, get everybody's attitude in the right spot. So.
Right. Then progressing the career in the guard.
So, like I mentioned before, most people just do it for college benefits. But if you stay in the guard, there's a good chance you will progress pretty far. It depends on your MOS. But, people are always getting out. People are always moving to another unit. So you have a good chance of getting promoted. And, if you want to stay guard for 20, 30 years, just part-time, you will get decent benefits. I mean, you won't get what active duty people get as a pension, but you will get good benefits. Healthcare is extremely cheap. If I want to get an individual plan right now for myself, it would be $60 a month. And that covers everything: pharmacy, ambulance, emergency, in clinic visits, all that stuff. But family plans are like $250, so it's still pretty cheap for a family plan.
Let me see if I have any more things. Yeah, I think I'm all set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good option if you wanna get a taste of military. I mean, National Guard is a pretty good way to go if you want to stay home, if you want to stay near home, if you want to do. I mean, not everybody says they go and they fire a 120 millimeter cannon on the weekends. I mean,
No, yeah, that's the truth. Do you have like the annual rifle call?
we do. So we do rifle qual once a year, and then we do some medical qual as well every year. So everybody's up to date on the tourniquets.
So it's not just the infantry.
No, so infantry guys that will come up to Fort Newtown Gap because there's a lot of ranges and stuff there, and they will do their little training there. But everybody requalifies on their weapon every year, and we actually had the opportunity to shoot other weapons like the M2. We shoot the Mark 19 grenade launcher. We shoot the Mark 320 handheld grenade launcher. So it's not only kind of held down to like the M4 for non-infantry. I mean, we have the options to get qualified on other weapon systems as well.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on and speaking on the Guard and representing the Guard. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah. Well, it's nice having you. Do you want to have a little shout out for your Instagram or something, or you don't want people to know?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'll let all that. I'll leave all that to you, all the views.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
All right.